Diagwit, we're back on 20 Minutes with Oshaberi George. He's an English YouTuber based in Japan who makes all his content in Japanese. He's walked the Shikoku 88 Temple pilgrimage. He's been to every prefecture in Japan. He's been around the globe and he keeps coming back to Japan. So, George, welcome.
Hello, thank you very much for having me back.
So, this is the second time you've been
Yes,
on our program.
yeah.
The reception to the first video was insane for us. The reaction to you speaking English,
Yeah,
a lot of your fans had some pretty interesting things to say about that.
yeah. There was a lot of people. Wow, George talks like a native and stuff like that. Like, oh, I didn't know George could speak English and things like that. So, yeah, it was quite fun to see the comment section, and despite the video being all in English,
Yeah,
there was a lot of Japanese comments, which
right.
was quite interesting and fun to see.
Some of them were like, "Oh, George sounds so boring in English."
yeah, it's true. Yeah, I'm definitely not as how do I say it, animated when I speak in English, I guess. And my voice is a lot deeper, and I'm probably a lot more. I probably come across as a lot more relaxed when I'm talking in English. But when I'm talking in Japanese, I'm very, I'm very animated.
Yeah.
I'm very kind of excitable, I guess. When I'm speaking in Japanese, and there's a lot of emphasis, and I'm very kind of, I'm very into it, when I'm speaking in Japanese. So a lot of people kind of probably noticed the gap in
The
my
disparity,
the disparity in my personality, I guess, with both languages, which is quite an interesting. I didn't realize, looking back at it myself as well. I was like, wow, yeah, I definitely come across as a different person when I'm talking in English. But it seems to have, a lot of people seem to have enjoyed the video. So
Yeah, no, it
I'm
went
very happy.
over really, really well. But the one thing I wanted to ask you actually
Yeah.
that time we never got around to it was I noticed before the first interview, in a lot of your videos, and you've got them out today, you got a lot of tattoos,
A lot of tattoos. Yeah, I'm
um,
quite a lot. Yeah.
but I wanted to ask you though, what's the story behind them? Is there a through line, or are they sort of more just like a collection?
Yeah, no, so I actually didn't get my first tattoo until I was 27.
Right.
I think so. It was quite late.
By that time, you're already in
I was in
Japan,
Japan. Yeah, I'd already been. So I'd already been living and working in Japan for about 5 years at that point. So I know I was, full on salary man,
Yeah.
wearing a suit. I didn't have any tattoos. I had to shave every day. I was, as clean cut as you can be,
Yeah.
at the time. And yeah, I got my first ever tattoo just before I left Japan to
Right.
travel the world. And I got it as a kind of, it was it was like, I'm leaving Japan. And also when I left Japan to travel the world, I didn't have a plan to come back to Japan. It was just, I'm
Right.
going to travel and see what happens,
Yeah.
And so it was kind of a symbol of not freedom, but up until then, I understood that in Japan, tattoos are a little bit taboo. It's not good to have visible tattoos. Fully aware of that. But I'd already, up until then, I'd already traveled everywhere in Japan.
Yeah.
I've been to all the best onsen.
Right.
I'd enjoyed the gyms and the pools and everything that, having tattoos can restrict you from.
Yeah.
I'd enjoyed it all. And, and I'd been working and living in Japan for already, a significant amount of time. And so I was like, I'm leaving now, so I'll get a tattoo. And my first tattoo, but I was still conscious of where to get it.
Yeah.
And my first tattoo is up here. I can show you this one. So it says it's
Wanderlust.
this Wanderlust, yeah.
Okay.
With this airplane, and airplane, and with the scenery in it. And so that was my first ever. If I'm wearing clothes, you can't see it. And that was my first ever tattoo, and I got it as like a kind of a symbol of me, this next chapter in my life. And so, yeah, and I got one, then I got two, and it just didn't stop from there. And now I'm kind of look like this. But if you go back even further, why originally did I want to get tattoos? So my dad, who was a punk in the 70s. He was like right at, like, you know, at the very beginning of when the scene was just coming out, and he personally knew and was friends with the Sex Pistols and all of the big names back then. Susie Sue, all the famous, you know, punk people back then he was in with.
Yeah.
And my dad had tattoos, and always had tattoos, and I always grew up. So I loved my dad. He passed away in 2021, rest in peace. But he was always like a superhero to me. And because my dad was like, he was 6'8", so he was like huge,
Yeah.
huge guy, really cool, and he had tattoos, and he was a punk, and when he in the 70s when he got tattoos, when he first started getting tattoos, back then it was like super, like, what's the word, like no one had tattoos back then.
Yeah.
So having tattoos was like super cool. It was super kind of we're different to everyone, because that was the whole punk scene, you know.
Yeah,
It's like,
the
you
whole
know,
ethos.
yeah, the whole ethos was to be, you know, different. We're not the same as you, kind of,
Yeah.
you know, square people or whatever you want to call it. And so like, yeah, I grew up just seeing my dad with his tattoos. I always thought it was really cool. But yeah, I never rushed into it. You know, as I said, I got my first one when I was 27, and I got it in Japan as well. In fact, all of my tattoos I have got done in Japan. And the reason for that is actually that the Japanese tattoo artists are just, I think, are personally, you know, some of the best in the world. Obviously,
Right.
there's great tattoo artists in, you know, all over the world, like individual ones. But like, I think in general, the tattoo, you know,
Culture is just
culture is just, it's art, you know. I also make this very, this is a Japanese language nuance, but whenever I talk about tattoos in Japanese as well, I use the word tattoo. I don't say irezumi.
Okay.
And there's a reason I don't say irezumi. If you say irezumi, for me, the word irezumi is like the, you know, yakuza.
Oh, okay.
It's like the, you know, the big
Holy
dragons,
koi.
and
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
and like that for me, and like getting the wabori, like the Japanese, you know, traditional, like the
Yeah.
ones that you'd see on the yakuza, is irezumi. Tattoo is gairaigo. It's a foreign word, and
Right.
and tattoos are fashion for me.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think in the West, like the word the tattoo is more of, it's always art, and it's fashion, and it's part of your expression. But irezumi is I feel like the nuance and the meaning is very different.
Yeah.
So I personally, for my tattoos, I call them tattoos in Japanese as well. I use the foreign word. I don't use irezumi. And and when people say to me, "Oh, you have irezumi," it kind of, it makes me feel like ちょっと違うけどね.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, no, it's a little bit different, you know, for me. So yeah, but I think that's important as well, to kind of to differentiate in that way.
Yeah.
Because there's a different, like the image of, like a lot of my tattoos are one point tattoos. It's not all connected. Whereas irezumi is like, it's like a piece, you know.
Right.
It's like the whole back, and then it's like, you know, down, there's different cuts. Like some of them go to like here, some of them go to elbow, some of them go to here. There's different cuts you can get. It's like a bodysuit, right?
Yeah.
And the meaning is very different. So I still think it's really cool. It's beautiful art. But in Japan, those kind of tattoos have a completely different meaning, I feel, than just 1 point, you know, fashion tattoos. I don't know. I don't know if that's the right expression, but
Yeah.
tattoos.
No, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
But I know you said you've been to all the, you know, the onsens, pools,
Yeah.
gyms and everything like that before you got your tattoos.
Yes.
But you know, after getting your tattoos,
Yeah.
did they prevent you from, like, did you lose out on anything like a certain job, or, you know, getting into like an onsen or a moment with someone? Or is that just like a theoretical concern rather than like a...
Yeah, no, it's actually, my tattoos now are actually it's like a barrier.
Okay.
So, and what I mean by that is it protects me from getting in with people I know I'm not going to get along with anyway. Do you know what I
Okay.
mean? So I don't want to work at a company that's going to be, you know, completely anti, and that's fine. I'm not saying that that's a good or bad thing. It's just me personally. I don't want to be in a company that's so uptight
Right.
about things like that. And so that was, you know, me having tattoos meant that I don't have to go back to being a guy in a suit at a desk all day.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of, it was a way of me, kind of just building my own road to how I want to be and the life I want to live. So, but in terms of like gyms and onsen and things like that, yeah, I there's a lot of onsen I can't now get into, that's my decision. So I'm no complaints on my behalf. You know, the rules are the rules. I follow the rules. I am able to go to the gym, but I have to be fully covered. I do that. You know, I oblige to the, you know, the rules are the rules. This is, you know, this is Japan, and if they are the rules, I will follow them. So it's not like I don't complain.
Yeah.
This is my own choice. I know that like me having tattoos means I can't go into certain establishments and can't do certain things. And I accept that. You know, that's the rules they have here. So I never complain about it.
Right.
I follow the rules and do what I can. But I feel like it's, you know, things are slowly changing. I feel like there are some onsen and sento and things like that now in Japan.
Gyms as well.
Some gyms, yeah, they're mainly the not the chain gyms, but like the, you know, the personal gyms and things like that are a lot more relaxed about it. But yeah, I feel like but the thing is, look, I've had tattoos now for 10 years, nearly 10 years, and I've never. The rules are the rules. But I've never really encountered anyone on an individual basis who's had an issue with me.
Right.
No one, I think because I'm a foreigner, no one, I think it's very rare that someone is actually that bothered. I think if you went into my gym now, my local gym that I go to all the time, I cover up, but, and I actually, if I was to like, or if you, not even me, get someone else, be like, there's that guy with the tattoo. If you actually saw him with his tattoos out, would it bother you? I have a feeling that most of them wouldn't be bothered.
Yeah.
Right? If I had tattoos on my face and was just, you know, covered in them, I think that's a different story.
Right.
And also it's a different story, as I said, if it's a Japanese guy who's covered in irezumi, who's got like the whole, you know, Yakuza type style tattoos, I think that's a bit of a different story.
Right.
Which is, I know that's unfair for me to say, but I feel like it's a different kind of, it's a different story. But yeah, but because Japan is, you know, the rules are the rules. Whether you have one tattoo or 100, it doesn't matter. You have to have them either covered or you're not allowed in. So yeah, there are people in the gym I go to as well that also clearly have tattoos because they're always covered up.
I see them.
So like, you know, it's just, you know, follow the rules and you'll be fine, I think. But I think you said missing out with opportunities with people as well. I think, look, in regard to that, I'm not aware because they won't approach me, right?
Okay.
So it doesn't bother me. It just means that if they're bothered by my tattoos, then sorry. But that means that, you know, it just means we don't have to deal with each other.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, but I look, I try and, you know, if there's a certain place I'm going to or a certain event or a certain thing, and I think it's better to be covered up, I will cover up. Obviously in the summer it's tough, because it's so hot. But strangely, I've actually noticed that like a lot of the young kids nowadays, like not just Japanese people, but like foreigners as well, but like they'll get their first tattoo in a really obvious place.
Right.
And that bothers me a bit. It's like, oh, you're trying to.
Yeah.
Like I slowly got like a lot of my first, I think like my first probably up to the 10th tattoo. Like if I had a t-shirt on, you wouldn't know I had tattoos, right?
Right.
I was that conscious about like, I don't want to have it in people's faces kind of. I just started running out of space.
Yeah.
So that's why I look like this now. But like yeah, I remember when I got my first ever tattoo that would have been outside of like the t-shirt line. I think it was my forearm this tattoo on my forearm here. And the tattoo artist who he did my first ever tattoo as well. I've always been getting tattoos at his shop. And he even said to me, he was like, George, are you sure? You know, he was like, it's not like, that's the thing I liked about getting tattoos in Japan. They're very serious.
Right.
You have like a proper meeting beforehand. You talk about the design, where to do it, you know, the size. They want to make sure that everything's good and happy and ready to go. It's not just like, I feel like in the West, a lot of people just kind of wander in and just get something random, you know?
Yeah.
You know, so like, yeah, and he was like, George, are you sure? Because this society-wise, you having a tattoo here now means that it's going to be visible all the time. are you sure? Like, and you know, and I was very took aback by that, how, you know, he was thinking on my behalf. You know, and obviously there are comments. I get comments on my videos and videos I've been on before. People are like, you know, he shouldn't have, he should cover up his tattoos, or we can't trust him because he's got tattoos and things like that. But you know, you can't get everyone to love you.
Yeah.
That's basically my kind of, you know, my way of thinking in regard to tattoos. Yeah.
So I mean, with the tattoos, you know, your YouTube channel like being like entirely in Japanese, like, you know, for Japanese viewers, you know, you recently completed the 88 Temple pilgrimage. So it's you're very much somebody who seems like set to live here, like in a particular way and for the
Yeah.
long run. So like when you do go back to England, like do you find that England has changed, like you've changed, or both?
Both, definitely both. But especially, I feel like England's changed a lot since I used to live there. Yeah, no, I think I will be in Japan for, hopefully, for the prolonged, you know, for the future, for quite a long time. I don't have any immediate plans to go back to the UK at all. It's just not livable in my
Right.
opinion. It's just too expensive. Nobody can afford a home at the moment. You know, I think Ireland's probably got similar issues as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just, look, I've worked my whole life in Japan. All of my work experiences in Japan, and in Japanese as well. So yeah, I mean, obviously I love England. I love, you know, I'm proud to be English, but and it's a place I will always visit and go back to, and obviously I have family there and things like that. But in regard to like living there, or yeah, no, it's not the same place I grew up in.
Right.
So I feel like I would be, you know, it happens every time I go back to England. There's always like this kind of reverse culture shock thing that happens to me, or I just feel like I'm really out of the loop with the
Yeah.
mentality now
Yeah.
there, if you
I
know
know
what
what
I
you
mean.
mean. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, dude, it freaked. I remember I have a distinct memory. I went to the pub in London with some old schoolmates, and for me, like, it's weird. I say this to my Japanese friends, and I've said this in other videos as well. But like for me, like English me, time stopped when I left England. If that makes sense. Do you know
It
what I mean?
does. Yeah, I get asked this all the time. Like in Ireland, do you have this or that, or
Yeah.
what's this like in Ireland now? It's like, look, I haven't lived there for 10 years. Like I don't know. Like
Yeah.
maybe, you know, it's changed, maybe it hasn't. I don't know.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, and exactly the same for me. So I'm kind of like stuck in like the old, like late 2000s, you know, which is a very different time,
yeah,
a
yeah.
very different time, you know, to what it is now. And so, like, yeah, and I remember getting together with like old schoolmates, like secondary schoolmates, and obviously they've been in England the whole time, and they've changed. They've had to adapt to the times.
Yeah.
And I went straight back into like secondary school banter for, you know, I was just like,
Yeah.
and they all look gobsmacked. And I was like, why is everyone like so tight? Like why has everyone got like a face like a well smacked ass? Like what's going on? And I felt so out of place.
Yeah.
When I went to the, it was my round. I went to the bar to get everyone's drinks. And some random bloke just walked up to me at the bar and was like, "You can't be saying things like that." Well, yeah, and that was when I was like, "Oh, this is like this is a completely different world now." Like,
Yeah.
I was just we were just, you know, schoolmates having a few drinks and having a laugh and jokes and stuff. And apparently my jokes are a bit too I don't know, on the dark side maybe, I don't know.
The late 2000s were dark times.
They certainly were. But fun times and free
Yeah.
times. More free back then, I feel. So yeah, I'm definitely way more comfortable, and I feel like I'm on the on a way better wavelength in Japan. So yeah, I think England is definitely not, it's out of the question for me in
So
that respect.
if you don't feel the pull then to go home now, like what does home like mean to you these days?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. Home for me, there wasn't really a home like a real home for me until I made my own home here. And that was only after I, got married and, I have a kid now, got a daughter who will be 2 in September, growing up super quick, super cute as well. Love her to bits. And I've got a house now. So I'm here now. This is home.
Okay.
I've got, I have my own house. It's our house. So, yeah, now I finally have a home. So home is here.
Right.
For me. Yeah. I mean, obviously England will always be my, place of birth where I grew up. My parents, my mum and my stepdad are, still there. So, go and visit that. That's the old home. That's like my, jikka, as you'd say. But it doesn't feel like, when I go back there now, it doesn't feel like home.
Yeah.
It feels like I'm just a visit. It feels like a hotel or something. It's really weird. Because my room doesn't look anything like what my room used to look like. It's it looks like a hotel room now. As soon as I left, they just changed it into like a hotel room.
That's exactly.
It's the guest room now. Yeah.
And like all the stuff I left behind, like my heavy metal magazines, like my mom is like, "When are you going to throw those out?" And I'm like, "I never." Like, they're like up on top of the wardrobe, she's like, "Can you get rid of this?" And it's like, when guests stay, they're not sleeping on top of the wardrobe. Like,
exactly. The only little remaining things of mine are they're right at the top of the drawer. Yeah, where no one can really reach. They're too much out of the way. That's all I have left in that room.
Yeah.
And most of them my cousin nicked and stole and sold anyway. So my only real home now really is here. So yeah. Yeah, Japan. Yeah. No, but I've never really thought this is the first time I've really actually realized that. I think.
Yeah.
I was kind of just, I'm just in the moment so much now that I didn't really, because I've only just moved into my house this year.
Okay.
Yeah. Up until then, obviously renting and whatnot. So, I finally feel like an adult now.
Yeah.
36 years old, but finally now I feel like an adult.
Just to finish up then, like, if the George, like before Japan, like before the YouTube channel and all that, could see you now, like what would surprise him the most, do you think?
I think that an old version of me, if a young version of me saw me now, he'd be happy to see that I finally found a place, because I definitely spent like my 20s, my late teens, and especially my 20s was a long, that whole decade was just, I was just lost. Obviously, I was I was working. I was doing jobs. That was when I traveled the world. That was when I traveled to all over Japan. I did all these things, but like I didn't have a, there was no end goal. There was no like, where do I want to go? What do I want to do? I was never happy with jobs. I was always like, this really isn't it. There's something, I don't want to do this. And so I was, I've had quite a few job changes throughout my career. But now I feel like I'm in a spot where I'm like, I'm doing something I enjoy, and it's fit for me as my personality, my way of working, my way of expressing myself, my way of doing things. I feel like I'm still not there. I'm still trying to build. I'm climbing the ladder. I'm still kind of trying things out, and because everything's very new. I've only just really started doing this very recently, so still very new to me. But I feel like I'm finally at a stage in my life where I'm happy with how things are going, and I feel like I'm in a spot that I'd like to try and stay in and actually work towards. Because up until then, my 20s, I was just all over the place. I was moving, traveling all the time, moving around, wasn't sure what I wanted to do, and so yeah, I think the old me would be happy to see how that I'm finally in a spot where I have where I'm free, but I'm also set in my in my goals and where I want to get to, and yeah, much more relaxed George, I guess. So yeah, that's probably what the old me would think of me. Current me. Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming in again today.
No, thank you very much. Always a pleasure. We'll see how this one pans out. Because tattoos is always a difficult subject, I think, especially in Japan. You're always going to get people who want to put in their 2 cents about,
Yeah.
he's a foreigner, he doesn't understand.
Yeah.
I fully understand.
But you know, it's like you said now, like you go into Shibuya and you see like, you know, like moms like pushing strollers like with sleeve tattoos and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's and it's look, and also look, we've got the World Cup going on right now. Most of the most famous footbal players in the world are covered in tattoos.
Yeah.
No one says anything
Mm.
because they're cool, right? Because they're, you know.
Yeah.
So like it's a difficult subject, but I think Japan is slowly changing. But I'm not. One thing I want to say at the end is I'm not trying to push Japan to change. That's not my message at all. I fully understand that having tattoos in Japan is still taboo. And as I said earlier, I follow the rules. I cover up when I need to cover up. And, you know, and I don't, you know, it's not something I shove in people's faces. I don't talk about them unless I'm asked. You know, so I know I have them and that, you know, that's that, but I try to be still as respectful as possible. I'm always polite outside when I'm outside. When I'm in public, I'm always as courteous as possible. You know, it's not something I have to scare people. So yeah, I just wanted to get that out just before someone like makes them, you know, there'll probably be someone who still won't listen to this and will write a comment, but yeah, explodes, but we'll see. But yeah, thank you for having me again. And yeah, let's do it again.
Yeah. Thank you for coming in again. Leave your thoughts about this in the comment section. This is 20 minutes with Oshaberi George. Thanks for watching.
どうも。